with our guest speakers. Our first guest speaker, who is an ELT expert with 29 years of IELTS and TOEFL teaching and training experience. He's a linguist by profession, teacher, trainer, researcher, and international keynote and plenary speaker by experience. He has published 80 research papers in numerous international peer-reviewed research journals, authored 4 books, and has supervised extensively. He has conducted and attended scores of ALT workshops and seminars within the country. He has been awarded honorary doctor in ILT and applied linguistics by an American university due to his remarkable services in the field of ILT. He is a recipient of multiple national and international awards and gold medals recognition of his outstanding academic achievements. Currently, he is teaching in the Islamia University of Bahawalpur, Pakistan. Now we welcome Professor Dr. Mohammed Saftar Bahati to give a speech.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much for introducing me so nicely. Can you see my screen and am I visible?
Yeah, your presentation is visible, Professor. Welcome
Okay,
again.
sir. So nice of you. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum and a very good morning to everyone. This is Dr. Muhammad Safdar from the Islamic University of Bahawalpur, Pakistan. First of all, I would like to cordially thank the ORP organization for inviting me as a keynote speaker in their multiple conferences, and that is one of them. And really, sir, you are working great for bringing the first-hand knowledge of the researchers. And the topic of my today's talk is improving reading skills through Reader's Digest and investigation. And that is a brief sketch of my talk. Dear audience, English has won the status of international language. Due to its pivotal status, many nations are adopting it as their second language. English is taught as a compulsory subject in Pakistani educational institutions. A great many efforts have been made to boost up the standard of English language teaching and learning in Pakistan. The ability to communicate in written English is closely related to the reading skills as one of the 4 skills of English teaching and learning process. The ability to read opens up new knowledge and opportunities. It enables students to gain information, to get some pleasure, and do many things that are part of modern life, such as reading newspapers, magazines, maps, and so on. That's why reading plays an important role in the teaching and learning process of English. The target of the English teaching and learning is to enable students to gain the functional literacy, which is the ability to communicate both in simple oral and written English to deal with the daily life context, such as reading and understanding newspapers or manuals. In order to deal with the students' low English language proficiency, one solution was that teachers therefore must stimulate real-world situations in the classroom. What the Reader Digest is, dear all, and one way of exploiting this situation may be the first use of authentic materials, and examples of such materials include newspapers, magazines, TV programs, radio talks, menus, brochures, novels, comics, short stories, weather forecast, and recipes. A growing mass of research has reported that authentic materials like Reader's Digest in the classrooms are effective resources that can positively contribute to students' progress in reading skills. Reader's Digest is a great source to increase reading abilities in the students. It helps the students to improve their skills in reading and also in writing. They take in our aptitudes like how to read, how to discover the principal idea, how to build vocabulary, how to contrast readings and with structure, sentence, how to ask a good question, and how to compose an awesome outline. This is the criteria to teach reading skills. Good starting point of the teacher involving the students in reading, giving deep meanings to every important word, explanation of sentence structure, giving the knowledge of grammar during reading, teaching correct pronunciation to the students, maintaining discipline during teaching of reading skills, body language of the teacher, and questioning during the reading. If we talk about the significance of the study, Reader's Digest is important for improving reading skills. The positive results of this research can support the English teachers to apply this method in teaching reading skills, and teachers can change their methods to make the students motivated and relaxed in teaching learning process. It can make students comfortable in teaching learning process because with this method, the students can improve their reading skills by catching the message from the teacher. This research is expected to be beneficial for the students, the teachers, and the institutions theoretically and practically. The objectives of my study were to know the purpose of reading Reader's Digest, to find out the students' awareness about Reader's Digest, to increase students' knowledge of the target language by using Reader's Digest, to identify the benefits of using Reader's Digest, to know the major problems of reading Reader's Digest at BS level, to investigate students' satisfaction about reading Reader's Digest, to identify the sources used for reading skills among students, to investigate the difference between male and female students' reading habits. Dear all, how do students improve reading skills through Reader's Digest and other sources were one of my research questions. Is there any significant difference between students' reading habits? Is there any significant difference in the interest level of male and female readers? What are students' perceptions about using Reader's Digest in the classroom? Is there any significant difference between students' performance in pre-test and in the pre-test of control and experimental groups? Is there any significant difference between students' performance in pre-test and post-test of experimental group? Is there any correlation between student performance in pre-test and the post-test? My hypothesis was the reading skills of BS level students can be improved through Reader Digest. There is no difference between scores of control group and experimental group in the pre-test, and there is difference between scores of control and experimental groups in the post-test. Dear all, not all believes that a well-balanced reading program should enable students to enjoy or at least feel comfortable with the reading, the foreign language, and read without help. Unfamiliar 50 students and 15 teachers from the Islamic University of Bahawalpur participated in this study. If we talk about the research methodology, it was experimental in nature, and approach was quantitative, and stratified random sampling was done. Pre-test and post-test for the students and a questionnaire for the teachers were used as a tool to collect the data from the respondents. And that is the description of my data. That is the paired simple samples of the test. And that is the mean, standard deviation, and t-test for control and experimental groups data. And now I would like to move towards a discussion about the pre-test and the post-test. Dear all, in post-test, t-value is less than difference table. So from the results, it is obvious to accept the general hypothesis that Reader's Digest enhances students' performance in learning reading skills. So, dear all, now I would like to move towards the findings. Reader's Digest has a superiority over the traditional method of teaching reading skills. It provided the learners with a better learning environment, which reflected in their scores. It was very effective in motivating the learners towards participation and interaction. It provided the learners with enjoyment and pleasure that affected their achievement positively. It was an excellent teaching technique because it evoked students' interest, helped students to create vivid mental images, which activated their thinking process. Their vocabulary was expanded by new words throughout the experiment. Proper illustrations about the text brought desirable positive change among the students. Now I would like to move towards the conclusion. Dear all, Reader's Digest and its worksheets can improve students' reading skills and the vocabulary as well. However, in order to ensure successful reading program, involvement from the teachers is required in going through the articles and exercises in the worksheets with the students consistently. Otherwise, they will be discouraged to read the magazine and do the exercises in the worksheets. Reader's Digest is a potential source for the students to improve their reading skills because the content of the magazine is relevant and covers a wide range of the issues. Before leaving, I would like to give some suggestions and recommendations. Dear all, the students should be taught through Reader's Digest as well. The old and traditional teaching method should be avoided. The students should be encouraged to share their thoughts in their target language. Teachers should use and adopt new and innovative learning strategies of reading based on the Reader's Digest in their classes. Teachers should motivate their students to participate in the class on equal basis. Reader's Digest can reveal students' hidden talents regarding reading skills. It needs to be highly promoted in the teaching and learning process. Its worksheets will motivate and encourage reluctant students to read carefully. Instant instructors' feedback is very advantageous in this mode of learning. It keeps the learning process streaming throughout the day. The teachers should be trained according to the challenges of modern era because a good teacher has the capacity to inspire the learners to dream more, to learn more, to do more, and to become more. And these were some references from which I got the help. And thanks for your patience.